That Ambedkar ji is basically not believing that India is a nation. He doesn't believe that India has a nation or it has any kind of nationality or there is any kind of nationalism. And he says that India is neither a nation nor there is any nationality, and the nationalism which you are seeing is a fake nationalism, and he uses the theory of H.G. Wells. He uses the theory of H.G. Wells to say that Indian nationalism is like the naked man's nationalism in the crowded place. So, what is the naked man's nationalism in crowded place? To wear the clothes, to put on the clothes. Similarly, Indians are also putting this robe of nation, nationality, and nationalism so that they can hide their nakedness and they can get the political power. Because if they will say that they are nation, nationality, or they have nationalism, then their demand for statehood will become more acceptable and legitimate because the Western powers also acquired and they became a state on the basis of nationalism. So, since Western powers also believes in the theory that we cannot become a state before becoming a nation, and if India proves that India is a nation, then definitely they want to give a moral obligation to the Britishers so that Britishers can accept their demand of statehood. I hope this is fine to all of you, and we have discussed this part in our last class, isn't it? So he uses the theory of H.G. Wells, and then he criticizes the Congress version of nationalism and talking about the Hindu unity, Muslim unity. So he says that the Congress theory that common race, we should worship our ancestors, we should worship our past is common, our culture is common, traditions are common, there is bond between Hindu, Muslim, there is a bond, a spiritual bond between Brahmin, Dalit, जो भी हुआ past में, it has to be preserved, worshipped, glorified. And he gave a famous statement. And what is that famous statement? That I cannot be the living faith of the dead and the dead faith of the living. I cannot be the I cannot be the living faith of the dead and dead faith of living. So you all are doing this because this is basically the nationalism of few hands, few people. You actually want to deceive the Dalits. You don't want to give anything to the Dalits. You actually want to take the power from the British, and you are glorifying your past so that you can put your history of exploitation below the carpet so that nobody can see the bad phase of your history. That's why you are glorifying your past. So this glorification has a hidden agenda, has a hidden intention, and that hidden agenda and hidden intention is to suppress the possible emboldenment of the Dalits. Because if Dalits will be emboldened with the influence of the Westerns or with the influence of the Britishers, then it will become very difficult to continue with this common race theory, because then the weakness in your system will be exposed. And once the weakness in your system is exposed, then there will be very less chances of being called a nation or a nationality or nationalism, and then there will be less chances that Britishers will hand over the power to a handful of Brahmins and the upper caste. So this is basically a conspiracy of the upper caste to paint the picture, to paint a very glorious picture, a glorified picture of the past, so that the mess which has happened in the history cannot be seen, and those who were the victims in the history of this mess, they do not get emboldened as an influence of westernization. I hope you all have understood this. Please tell. So that's why this is what the Ambedkar ji is focusing about, the Congress version of nationalism. So that is actually not nationalism. So you have basically three agenda. First agenda is that you want to hide your nakedness. Second agenda, you want to get the political power, which is not possible until and unless you pose that you also were nation beforehand and you also have this kind of empowered feeling of and the advanced feeling of nationalism. And the third agenda, that you don't want the Dalits to become emboldened, empowered as an effect of westernization. And that's why you are forcing everybody to become the part of this nationalism or this national movement, so that they forget their past in the name of nationalism. So in the name of nationalism, actually you are not thinking for the future of the Dalits, and you are asking everybody to preserve the values of the past and to worship our ancestors, so that the the victims of this past forgets whatever has happened with them, and they do not ask the real questions to you, so that your nationalism agenda, the hidden agenda of nationalism, is not jeopardized. But if Dalits will become powerful, if Dalits will become emboldened, if they will become aware, if they will become educated, then everything will be exposed, that how much you have exploited them in the history, and there is no common emotion, or there is no emotional bond between the Dalit and the other section of the society. So you don't want the Britishers to know this bad phase of your past, because once they come to know, then either they will do divide in politics and they will never be morally obliged to give you power, because their understanding is that power should be given to someone who where the community is united. So only until and unless there is not a feeling of unity and there is no bond, they cannot they do not morally deserve to survive as a state, to survive as a state. So you don't want to worsen your chances of getting independent and getting free and getting the transfer of power done from the Britishers to the Indians. This is actually. And then later in 1940, he will write a book. And in that book, there is one chapter. And in that chapter, he has what is the name of that chapter? In that chapter, he has justified the demand of the Pakistan by saying that it is not the race and it is not what is important is the soul which comes from the sweet past. So sweet past is more important, and in the Congress theory, race is important than the religion, but the partition theory talks that religion is above the race. So many interesting debates are there, and we get to know so much about Ambedkar and his views. Actually, he did not do much work on the nationalism, but obviously, he was expected to comment on nationalism so that his views get consistent with his main discourse. So his main discourse was basically he was focusing on the Dalit politics, and that's why he can be compared with the Periyar of the South, where he said that this nationalism of Gandhi will give the powers to Brahmins, will give the power to upper caste, and there will be actually no change in the life of the Dalits and the exploited people and the victims of the history, victims of the past. So if cat's power is not the rat's Swaraj. So this nationalism is a Hindu Swaraj. Muslims will also become the victim. Dalits will also become the victim. This is Brahmin Swaraj. So Hinduism is basically under the control of Brahmins. So whether you use the word Brahmanical idealism or you use the word Hinduism, it doesn't matter. What is Hinduism is a Brahmanical idealism, and what is a Brahmanical idealism is Hinduism. So Hinduism is in fact a foreign word. This word has been given to us by the foreigners, by the Britishers, and they gave this name to the behavior of the and to the practices and to the values of Brahmanical to the Brahmins. So that is known as a Brahmanical idealism. That means whatever the Brahmin is thinking, whatever they are doing, they are the ideals of the society, and you have to follow that ideal. Those who will follow, they can only become the part of the pure race, right? So only Brahmin is pure, rest of them are not pure, and if others wants to get pure, then they will have to be dominated, and they have to follow what the Brahmins are saying. So only Brahmins can purify the others. Nobody, people do not cannot get purified on its own. So purification process is under the control of the Brahmins. Am I clear, sir? So if the power is getting to the cat's power is not the rat's Swaraj. So if the question comes, who said this? Cat's power is not rat's Swaraj. Cat's power is not rat's Swaraj. And Brahmin power is not, Brahmin rule is not a Paraya Swaraj. So this SC/ST is known as the Paraya, the Dalit community. So let me tell you about this four Varna Vyavastha system. Ambedkar on his caste system, and Gandhi and Ambedkar on caste. So now we will discuss the debate between the Gandhi and between Gandhi and Gandhi and Ambedkar ji. Basically, they had the debates. First debate was obviously on the caste system, right? Second debate was on the nationalism. That was obviously not so much important. Then the debate was with respect to the regulation of this Harijan movement. Debate with respect to Harijan movement. Then debates with respect to conversions, the religious conversions which are taking place in the society, right? Isn't it? So caste system, division of labor, so all this we will see: nationalism, Harijan movement, conversions. ठीक है. So basically on a nationalism, on a Harijan movement, on conversions, right? So on a national struggle also, just give me 1 minute. ठीक है. Yes, on the word secular we will discuss later, but then there was a debates on the understanding of Swaraj that we have already understood. Debates on understanding of Swaraj, and there was debate on village republic also. There was debate on the village republic, on the Swaraj, correct? Harijan movement, nationalism, caste system, convergence. There was a debate on the word political justice. So let us see all this. And there was debate on this base structure and superstructure. Base structure and superstructure. Debate on base structure, superstructure, debate on political justice, debate on village republic, debate on Swaraj, debate on convergence, religious convergence, Harijan movement, debates on nationalism, debates on caste system, right? And debates on satyagraha. So satyagraha also we will see that what was the difference in the satyagraha of Ambedkar and satyagraha. तो तैयार हो आप सब? सत्याग्रह, base structure, political justice, village republic, Swaraj, convergence, Harijan movement, nationalism. So many debates are there, and we will see these debates. First debate is on the caste system. So what is the actual debate? Gandhiji believes in caste system. Now there are two things. So Varna system, then a caste system, then there is a caste system, then there is discriminations, and then there is basically untouchability. So untouchability is the so what is the thinking of a Gandhiji? Let us understand. So they both can be understood in the light of the Marx. They both can be understood in the light of Marx. And what is that? Marx said that the division of labor was allowed by Marx, correct? Fixation of labor was not allowed by Marx, because Marx feels that fixation of labor leads to discrimination and whatever the form is there, discrimination, and after discrimination only there is private property. So Marx does not believe in, Marx believes in division of labor, but he does not believe in fixation of labor, because all this is happening in chain, and that's why he doesn't believe in so that is the what you have to understand. What about Gandhiji? Gandhiji talks about division of labor, yes, which he says Varna system. So Varna system is just the division of labor. But Gandhiji did not clearly say that whether he likes the caste system or not. So he says Varna system of our Vedas is okay. There is no problem in that. And he never said, so he was a silent whether the one system should be fixed or not. So one system is division of labor, and caste system is a fixation of labor. I hope this is clear to all of you. So Gandhi ji was a silent on a fixation of labor. However, he strongly opposed the discrimination. But then again, about private property, Gandhi ji says that we can have the personal property, not private property. That means accumulation is not allowed, but need-based property is okay. We can have some individual property which is for our need. That means there cannot be one cloth which the whole community will wear. So we need to have the individual shirt, individual pant, isn't it? तो ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि एक शर्ट है जो पूरी कम्युनिटी इसको पहने. तो गांधी जी ने प्रॉपर्टी पर यही सोच डेवलप की कि कुछ चीजें पर्सनल होनी चाहिए, निजी होनी चाहिए, जो हमारे नीड का है, जिसको हम साझा नहीं कर सकते कम्युनिटी के साथ, और कुछ चीजें कम्युनिटी ओन्ड होनी चाहिए. So like there is a pond in the river, a pond in the village, so that has to be owned by the community. That has to be owned by the community. Right. What about Ambedkar? So he says very strongly to finish the caste system, because he says that caste system is the root cause of discrimination. It is impossible that there will be caste system and there will not be discrimination. As Gandhi ji says that Varna system is okay. So he rejects even the Varna system, because Varna system will somewhere lead us to the caste system. So he is fundamentally against the Manusmriti, against the Vedas, and therefore he will reject the concept of Varna system also, and he will reject the caste system also. He will reject the discrimination also. But then Ambedkar is not against the private property. He is not against the private property. Ambedkar viewpoint is that the main resources should be owned by the state, not by the community. Why he is talking that private property should be, the important private property should be under the control of the state. So he talks about state-based socialism. State-based socialism. What is this state-based socialism? We discussed this in our polity class also. He says that property should never go into the hands of the community, because he feels that community is dominated by people like Brahmins and Kshatriyas. So if you say that community owned property, then in the name of the communism, again the Brahmins will hijack all the powers, the Kshatriyas will hijack all the powers, because they have got that all kinds of intellectual paraphernalia to dominate the entire show. So that's why he says that major properties like insurance, transport, industries, they should be in the control of the state, and state should be represented by the Dalits. So if the state has enough representation of the Dalits, then state can control the major resources. So state-owned or state-based socialism. I hope this is clear to all of you. So here also he is in difference with Gandhiji's idea on private property and Ambedkar's idea on private property. So that also you can understand. So his idea on a division of labor is Gandhi's idea of a division of labor is very similar to Marx, but Ambedkar doesn't believe in the Varna system as the division of labor. So he doesn't say that Varna system has the intention of scientifically dividing the work. In the name of the science, actually, you want to, in the name of the efficiency, you actually have a hidden agenda to transfer all the powers to the Brahmins. आई बात समझ में? ठीक है? All of you understood this? So on these four topics, you have understood the view of the Marx, view of Gandhi, and view of Ambedkar. So neither Ambedkar was totally against the private property, nor Gandhiji was against the private property, but their concept of the private property was different. Gandhi said that the things which we need individually should be possessed by us, but the things which can be satisfied collectively should be owned by the community. But Ambedkar ji says that things which can be owned, which can be used collectively, should not be owned by the community. It should be owned by the state, and it should always be in the control of the state. It should be never given into the hands of the community. And this is one of the reasons that Ambedkar was against the decentralization, and Ambedkar was against decentralization, and Ambedkar was against the village republic concept also, because in the name of the decentralization and village republic, you will hand over the resources to the local people and to the community. And since the community is dominated by Brahmins and Kshatriyas, so they will again overtake and they will acquire all the important resources and the assets in the society. So after independence, this will be like a conspiracy, or directly or indirectly you are again propagating the hegemony of the Brahmins and the propagating the hegemony of the upper caste, where they have controlled all the resources like before the coming of the Britishers and the Mughals. So this is one of the reason that the Brahmins main, sorry, the Ambedkar's main target is Brahmins. So they do not see Mughals as their oppressors, they do not see Britishers as their oppressor. So therefore they are giving the benefit of doubt and discount to Britishers also and the Mughals also, and that's why they are saying that Muslims should be separated and a separate Pakistan should be created for the Muslims, so that now the Dalits can totally they challenge the Brahmins, and so because since their main enemy is the Brahmin. So hope you have understood this. On a discrimination also, their views are very different. So Gandhiji says that problem is not in the Varna system or caste system. The problem is in the discrimination. There cannot be discrimination. But Ambedkar ji says that the moment there is a caste system, there will be automatically a discrimination, because caste system is office of birth. So when biology decides so many things, definitely thinks there will be a lot of mess. So Varna system is a division of labor, and when you fix this division of labor on the basis of birth, then it becomes a caste system. So Varna system is scientific division of labor. And what is a caste system? This is fixation of division of labor on a basis of birth. So caste system is basically office of birth. Varna system is office of worth. So Gandhi ji will favor Varna system. About caste system, he is a silent. But Ambedkar will reject caste system also and Varna system also. And Ambedkar says the moment there is a caste system which is based on birth, then discrimination is a default. There will be automatic. So the consequence of caste system is discrimination, which becomes untouchability. And then he gives many theories like how initially from where Brahmins came, from where Kshatriyas came, right? From where the Vaishya community came, from where the Shudras came. So these are the four. uh, and who? Where is SC/ST? SC/ST is not included in this four Varna system. They are the fifth. They are excluded from the society. They are known as a Chandal, Chamar, right? They are not the part of this SC/ST. So they are not the part of this Varna system. So So from where this, what is the origin of this Kshatriyas, Vaishya and Shudra? Then there are many theories here. You don't need to go into that. But if you want, then I can tell you the what is the thinking of Ambedkar. Ambedkar said that those there initially there were two people only, Brahmins and Kshatriyas. So from where the Vaishyas are coming, so those Kshatriyas who became impure, they became Vaishyas. Who became more impure, they became Shudras. So this is the story of the formation of the Vaishya and the Shudra. So initially there were only two classes. When Aryans came, then only two classes. They were Brahmins. They were the most pure, and that's why they became vegetarians. Started reading Vedas. They became very intellectual, right? Full of knowledge. There were no libraries during those days. No software was there. No Google was there. So Brahmin was the software. He was the Google. He was everything. He was Amazon. He was everything. So so all it was the Brahmins were the library. So that's why everything was Brahmins were the repository of the knowledge system, which regulated this the society and the world. So there were no books, there were no papers, no computers. And then you needed some people to fight the war. So there were Kshatriyas. Now those Kshatriyas who became impure, they became Vaishyas. Vaishyas. Are you understanding? So what is the origin of Vaishya? Vaishyas are impure Rajputs. So from where the SC/ST came? Are they Aryans? So let us understand this SC is basically they are Aryan or not. So all those, now what happened? The Vaishyas who were impure Kshatriyas, became Vaishyas. Now most of these Vaishyas joined Buddhism. They became a Buddhist and Jainis. Buddhist and Jainis. So those who returned back into the system, they became Shudras. Are we understanding this? Those who did not return, they were not accepted in the society, they became SCs, Chandals. So they were exploited, oppressed, they were not made the part of the mainstream. So from where the Sudras are coming? So the origin of Shudras is in all the Vaishyas who became Buddhist. So some of the Vaishyas became Buddhist forever. They never returned back into the Varna system. But now some of the Buddhists and Jains wants to return to the Varna system. Since they want to return to the Varna system, therefore their acceptance became conditional, and they were said to be more impure, and they were given a lesser position in the society. So Vaishya community do not wear this sacred thread because the Brahmins refused to do the Upnayan Sanskar, the Janau thing. So Vaishyas cannot wear the Janau, Shudras cannot wear the Janau. Only Kshatriyas can wear the Janau and Brahmins can wear the Janau. That is the sacred thread, or in the language of the Vedas we call it Upnayan Sanskar, is a tradition of purification. So only Kshatriyas and the Brahmins are the pure, and those Kshatriyas who became impure, they became Vaishyas. Those Vaishyas who were dissatisfied with this Varna system, they joined Buddhism, but some of them returned back. Those who returned back became Shudras. They were accepted. And those who did not return, अब इसमें भी है, those who returned, some of them became Shudras, some were accepted and some were not accepted. Those who were not accepted, they became SCs. ठीक है. So however, there is no, so what the Ambedkar is trying to explain, he is trying to explain the Brahmanical idealism and the Brahmins controlling everything. So he wanted to get rid of this past, get rid of this system. He wanted to end this victimization forever and ever. So therefore he did not believe in any nationalism which is based on preservation of our ancient and values, scriptures, texts. ये सबको बकवास बोलता है, कहता है डायनामाइट लगा दूंगा, आग लगा दूंगा इन सब पर. And he makes a theory which is based on reformation. So nationalism, the objective of nationalism is not to preserve the past, but to decide and contribute for making a better future of those who never got the same opportunity in the history. So that is nationalism, as per Ambedkar, reforming the life of the Dalits, SC/STs. So I hope you all have understood the debate on the caste system and the debate on nationalism. So Gandhi ji, so he is not in the favor of this race theory. He doesn't believe in empathy based nationalism, Gandhi, or ideal nationalism. है कि नहीं? Because in a Gandhian nationalism, if you see this Gandhian nationalism, there is a spirituality, there is ethics, there is universalism. Gandhiji doesn't believe in any race. He rejects race and religion as the basis of, but he believes in worshipping of our past memories. He believes in preservation. of our past. He believes in Vedas, texts, but he does says that all those things cannot be used once we get the state power. उनको हम रिलीजन को तभी तक यूज करें जब हम जितना में हमें उससे अंग्रेज से लड़ने के लिए ताकत मिल रही है. एक बार अंग्रेज से आजाद हो जाएंगे फिर रिलीजन का कोई स्पेस स्टेट एक्टिविटी में नहीं होना चाहिए. लेकिन इनके कॉन्सेप्ट में अदराइजेशन का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है, एनिमीहुड का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है कि नहीं. He believes in empathy-based nationalism, ethics-based nationalism. So his nationalism is humanistic in nature, which is human-oriented nationalism, which is for the benefit of the human society. And he says it's not necessary that you will get the spirituality, humanism only from the religion. Religion is one of the source from where we can gather all this. Right? Religion is the source from where you can gather all this. But religion is not the only source. The moment you realize that you are different from animals, you get the moral license to change yourself. So you can attain Swaraj just by experimentations and realizations. Not necessarily that you will get that energy of doing the experiments and realization from the religion only, but religion is one of the motivating force which is helping you to understand Swaraj. So we are not becoming the, as per Gandhiji, we are not becoming, we don't want this nationalism only to become a state and do good for our people. We will do good for everyone in the world. That is the objective. And nobody is our enemy. We don't distinguish anybody from us. So that means there is no concept of otherization. But India wants to become an ethical nation for the development of all the nations. Basically, he was targeting the weaker nations, the poor nations. So why we are protesting against the Britishers? Because we want to become a strong nation, spiritually strong, ethically strong, so that at international level we can put our moral arguments which will help in nationalizing and giving a freedom to the rest of the other nations which are the victims of colonialism and imperialism. So the larger picture is to fight against all the all the destructive forces, all the colonial forces, capitalist forces, socialist forces, any such force which is based on selfishness, greed, profit, है कि नहीं? So India wants to become the Vishwa Guru. And after attaining the statehood, India will work on the key issues of poverty, malnutrition, hunger. Will try to solve the problems not only of the Indians but all the countries where the key problem is malnutrition, hunger, unemployment, so all the civil war. So this is the agenda of Gandhiji, which is in the language of the M.N. Roy, it is known as uh, they are known as a patriot, spiritual patriots, spiritual patriotism. So they are believing in spiritual patriotism. And then M.N. Roy will give his own theory of radical patriotism, which means that patriotism is not to become power for rest of the world. Patriotism is not a moonshine. You have to show patriotism to save your people. So you should become a powerful country, not to solve the problem of Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal, or Africa, but to solve the problem of SC/ST. अपने घर के अंदर में जो समस्या है उसको पहले सुलझाओ, तो फिर वो हम समझेंगे. When we will discuss the M.N. Roy, we will go in detail and we will try to understand that how M.N. Roy contradicted and compromised with Gandhi. He was against Gandhi initially, but later when he was kicked out from the Communist Party, then he became sympathetic to the theory of Gandhi. He accommodated his theory with Gandhi's theory, and then finally he gave his own new theory. So in the beginning part of his career, he was under the influence of the Marx. Then in the second part, he was under the influence of Gandhi. And then third, he gave his own theory, which was known as radical humanism. So we will see that what was his radical humanism. But for that, we need to wait for the M.N. Roy. And now we are discussing the debates between the Ambedkar and the Gandhiji on nationalism. So his nationalism is more outward oriented. Gandhiji's nationalism. But Ambedkar is rejecting all these things, and Ambedkar says that first give me a nationalism, a packet of nationalism, which is there only for SC/ST. So if nationalism has a formula for everybody, that means it has formula for no formula for SC/ST. तो आप जब कहते हैं कि सबको मिलेगा, तो मतलब इसका ये होता है कि दलित को कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. तो जब आप कहते हो कि आपका नेशनलिज्म यूनिवर्सल है, सबके लिए है, सबकी भलाई के लिए है, मानव सभ्यता के लिए है, तो इसका मतलब आप दलितों के लिए कुछ नहीं करने वाले. तो जब सबके लिए सब कुछ बराबर है, तो मतलब दलित को कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला है, दलितों के लिए कुछ विशेष नहीं. तो जिसके थ्योरी में, जिसके प्रिंसिपल्स में दलितों के लिए कुछ विशेष नहीं होगा, उसके लिए हम कुछ नहीं करेंगे. So अब क्या है कि what do you have to understand here that what was Ambedkar's? So Ambedkar gives the theory of a common soul, and he gives the theory that I cannot be the living faith of dead and dead faith of living. कि जो मर गए उनकी पूजा नहीं कर सकते और जो जिंदा है उनको हम मार दें, उनके लिए आंख बंद कर लें, ऐसा होगा. तो जो हमारे बाप दादा, बूढ़े दादा थे, जिन्होंने जो अत्याचार करके चले गए दलितों के खिलाफ, हम उनकी पूजा अर्चना, उनकी वाहवाही, उनका ग्लोरिफिकेशन, उनका महिमा मंडल करें. और जो हमारे देश में आज के डेट में गरीबी है, भूखमरी है, बेरोजगारी है, दलितों के ऊपर शोषण है, अत्याचार है, उस पर आंख बंद करके हम पूजा अर्चना अपने पुराणों की करें, उपनिषद की करें, वेद की करें, ये राष्ट्रवाद नहीं है. राष्ट्रवाद प्रिजर्वेशन नहीं होता है. राष्ट्रवाद का मतलब यह होता है कि जो प्रेजेंट में हालत खराब है उसको फ्यूचर में कैसे ठीक करोगे. तो more future oriented. So what we can say that Ambedkar's nationalism is more future oriented, whereas the Gandhi's is more past oriented or present oriented, but he is not talking specifically about the cure or about the solution. So in the Gandhi's nationalism, there is no specific and exclusive solution given to the SC/ST problem. But Ambedkar's nationalism is specifically and exclusively for the Dalits. So he is saying nationalism is not preserving the old values, but changing the old values so that it can exonerate and liberate the victims of the past. So it is nationalization is ending the victimization of the past. कैसा लग रहा है सुनने में, समझने में? So his nationalism is Ambedkar's nationalism. If I have to write, he rejected common race theory. He accepted common soul theory based for Muslims, and he accepted. Then he talks about the preservation value of nationalism. Value, he rejected it. Worshipping of past, he rejected. Nationalism is not worshipping the past. What is nationalism? Nationalism is making the future of past and present victim. तो पास्ट में विक्टिम है और प्रेजेंट में विक्टिम है, उनके लिए फ्यूचर बनाने की जो बात करेगा उसको हम नेशनलिज्म कहेंगे. और इसी का पूंछ पकड़ करके आगे कौन बढ़े? थोड़े दूर के लिए एम.एन. रॉय बढ़े. Okay. So Ambedkar's nationalism is a future-oriented, Dalit-oriented, reformative, and based on common soul. तो गांधी जी कहते हैं डोंट फॉरगेट बट फॉरगिव. अंबेडकर कहते हैं पास्ट को याद रखने की जरूरत है ताकि भविष्य बनाया जा सके. पूजा करने के लिए हम पास्ट को याद नहीं रखेंगे. सो वी विल नॉट रिमेंबर द पास्ट टू वर्शिप द पास्ट, but to prepare a better future for those who were the victims of the past. So now we have the क्या था, हाँ, nationalism. Now Harijan movement and conversions, स्वराज, विलेज रिपब्लिक हो ही गया, इसको और डिस्कस कर लेंगे. देन पॉलिटिकल जस्टिस, बेस स्ट्रक्चर. सो Harijan movement and conversions. So Harijan movement is basically related with political justice and social justice. So actually Gandhi ji believed in which kind of a democracy? Democracy by people or for people? Gandhi ji believed in a democracy by people or a democracy for people? So Gandhi ji basically believed in democracy for people. That means whoever is in the power doesn't matter. So only talented people, merit people should come in the power. That means a Brahmin. So if ethical Brahmin and ethical upper caste can also come to the power, and if they are ethical, they will never do anything unethical for SC/ST. So we need those IAS officers, those ministers who are sympathetic, empathetic for SC/ST. So this is government for people. So Gandhiji was not interested in government by people. That means Gandhiji did not like everybody to become minister and bureaucrat. So in fact, Gandhiji was not in the favor of reservations also. So he said that what is more important is the ethics of the person and not the caste of the person. So if a ethical man, doesn't matter he is a Brahmin, a Kshatriya, Rajput, whoever, if they are good, then they will always do good for others. They will do good for SC/ST. But Ambedkar says there can never be rule for SC/ST until and unless there is rule by SC/ST. So he said that there can never be government for SC/ST until and unless there is government by SC/ST. So he wanted government by SC/ST. Then only there can be government for SC/ST. तो जब तक SC/ST खुद ब्यूरोक्रेसी में CM, DM, PM नहीं बनेंगे, तब तक दलितों के लिए कोई प्रोग्राम, पॉलिसी, वेलफेयर स्कीम्स नहीं होगा. आ गई बात समझ में? इसलिए हरिजन मूवमेंट का जो इम्पैक्ट है वो पॉजिटिव तब होगा जब हरिजन मूवमेंट को चलाने वाले भी दलित होंगे. लेकिन गांधी जी कहते थे कि हरिजन मूवमेंट दलितों के लिए चलाया जाएगा, लेकिन दलितों द्वारा नहीं चलाया जाएगा. दैट मीन्स हरिजन मूवमेंट शुड नॉट बी sorry, Gandhiji wanted Harijan movement should be for Dalits but not by Dalits. This is Gandhiji. But what Ambedkar said, that there cannot be Harijan movement, there cannot be Harijan movement for Dalits until and unless it is not done by Dalits. सब लोग समझ गए? तो the command of the Harijan movement should be in the hands of the Dalit. Then only this movement will work for the benefit of Dalits. Otherwise, this movement will satisfy the agenda of the Brahmins only. So this was the difference. In fact, he did not like to use the word Harijan because then that was spiritualizing the Dalits, so and not radicalizing the Dalit. Ambedkar wanted a radical Dalit and not a spiritual Dalit. So what Gandhiji is saying, that we can solve the social evils not by radicalizing the Dalit, not by making them feel angry about their past, not by reinforcing their victimization, not by making them remember that how they were exploited brutally in the history. If we will make them feel that they are victim, then they will never come up and realize their potential and talent, They will waste all their energy, all everything in taking the revenge, in remembering the stressed history, the stressed past. समझ में आ रहा है? So the stressed part, the stressed history will not empower the Dalits. So where is the solution? The solution is where? The solution is in the spiritualization of everybody. So if everybody will become spiritual, will join this spiritual movement of Satyagraha, of this Swaraj, so Dalits can develop and can liberate from their past only by becoming a Swaraji, only by controlling, by forgetting whatever has happened with him. In fact, he doesn't need to forget, but he needs to forgive. So, forgetting and forgiving, these are the two things on which the Gandhi has asked the people to focus light on. So then only you can understand and introspect and realize that what was the exact problem. And therefore, he said that when I was kicked out from the first compartment in South Africa, then I did not decide to take an immediate revenge or register my grievances or complain immediately and get an immediate solution. I focused on the core problem, and the core problem is that I became victim not because of this bad rule or whatever, or not because of discrimination. These are the superficial reasons. I became victim because I could not use my talent to develop myself and my community at the same speed and at the same time. तो अगर मेरी इंटेलेक्चुअल अवेकनिंग पहले हो जाती मेरे सोसाइटी का, इंडिया का, मेरे नेशन का, तो आज हम पीछे नहीं रहते और आज ये अंग्रेज अपनी हुकूमत हम पे नहीं चलाता. तो अगर चाहते हो कि एक लॉन्ग टर्म सॉल्यूशन मिले तो अपने इंडिविजुअल ग्रीवांसेस को बरी करना होगा और कुछ बड़ा सोचना होगा सोसाइटी को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए. तो आपको सबके लिए सॉल्यूशन सोचना है, ना सिर्फ अपने लिए. तभी जाकर के आप एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव सोसाइटी, एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव सॉल्यूशन दे पाएंगे. इंडिविजुअल रेडिकलाइजेशन से कोई फायदा नहीं है. इफ यू विल रेडिकलाइज द दलित, डोंट थिंक दैट विद द हेल्प ऑफ ब्रिटिशर्स द दलित्स will be empowered and they will get everything, all the political power, and then they will use that political power to take revenge against the Brahmins. Then Brahmins will also, after certain period of the time, they will also get power from somewhere and they will suppress these Dalits. Then again, so this story will keep on going. This cycle will never end. So if you are really looking for a perennial civilized society, then you will have to think for that the solution is not in the radicalization, but the solution is in the spiritualization. So solution is in the spiritualization. So spiritualization is the actual journey which we have to do and not the radicalization. So this spiritualization journey starts from Swaraj, Satyagraha, non-violence, right? And through this journey only we can become a true Swaraji and we can become actual liberated person. We can become a free person. Only free person can make free society and free nation. And right, but Ambedkar did not like this, and Ambedkar, and in the course of this discourse, Gandhiji said that Dalits should not be addressed as Dalits because this will make them remember their victimization history and they will feel to be more victim. And if they will feel to be more victim, then they will try to take, then they will waste their energy in taking small revenges and they will never be able to utilize their key potential, their unique potential, their talent. And therefore, he used the word Harijan, that is to dilute the victimization and dilute all these things. But Ambedkar said Harijan word should not be used. It is a strategy of Gandhi so that Dalits can forget everything and the society, Dalit society also forgets everything and everybody forgets everything. Britishers also forget everything so that nobody can target this group to be used as a counter force against the Hindus. So it is better that they should be used, they should be addressed as depressed Dalit so that they always remember that what is their immediate agenda, and the immediate agenda is to overthrow the commanding position of the Brahmins in society. That is their immediate agenda. So they can never make a bright future for themselves until and unless they immediately kick out the Brahmins from the places, from the place and the places of prominence. So if the Brahmins and the upper caste keep on enjoying the ruling positions, then they will never be able to make a better future for themselves. So try to understand in simple language. Gandhiji says to Dalits, forget whatever has happened. If you want to do something in life, suppose this is a new line. If you want a real solution, then you will have to prove that you are better than Brahmins. You are better than Kshatriyas. And that will happen when you will focus on your talent, on your core talent, on your core spirituality, on your core goodness. There is goodness in everybody. If you can give solution to yourself by your goodness only, and that goodness is embodied in your talent. So if I have to make this line a short, then I have to make a big line in front of this. अगर वो बोले इस लाइन को बिना काटे पीटे छोटा करो, तो हमको एक बड़ी लाइन बनानी पड़ती है. तो अगर ये लाइन ब्राह्मणों ने बनाई है तो SC ST को उससे बड़ी लाइन बनानी होगी, और ये बड़ी लाइन बिना टैलेंट के, बिना अपने कोर गुडनेस के नहीं बना सकते. और कोर गुडनेस स्वराज और स्पिरिचुअलिटी के बिना नहीं आ सकता है. इसीलिए यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन में भी कहा जाता है कि आपको जब तक आप प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं तब तक आपको प्यूरिफाई करना चाहिए, गंदी बातें नहीं सोचनी चाहिए, अच्छाई के ऊपर फोकस करना चाहिए, अच्छा आदमी बनना का प्रयास करना चाहिए, भगवान की पूजा अर्चना, अल्लाह को याद करना चाहिए, हर काम अच्छा करना चाहिए, अपने अंदर में अच्छाई ढूंढनी चाहिए, क्योंकि उसी अच्छाई से का इस्तेमाल आप अपने टैलेंट को यूज करने में करेंगे. और अगर सोचोगे कि कौन से पड़ोसी ने मुझे परेशान किया, कौन से दोस्त ने मुझे बुरा बात कहा, किसने मेरा मजाक उड़ाया, मैं उसका बदला लूंगा, तो आप कभी अपने अंदर के अच्छाई को समझ ही नहीं पाएंगे. और जब अब तक अपनी अंदर के गुडनेस को नहीं समझोगे, अपनी अच्छाई को नहीं समझोगे, तब तक आपका पूरा टैलेंट क्या इस्तेमाल होगा ही नहीं. आई बात समझ में? ये गांधी जी की थ्योरी है SC ST को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, तभी उन्होंने हरिजन शब्द का इस्तेमाल किया. हरिजन. So again he is bringing religion to unite the Brahmins and the Dalits. So wherever Britisher will come, Gandhi ji will come with his goodness, with his God, with his religion, to unite. So he's using this spiritual force to unite Hindus and the Dalits, Brahmins and the Dalits, so that they can become a powerful force and they cannot be divided by the Britishers. Right? So that is your immediate need is to immediate your immediate need is becoming to achieve Swaraj. Your immediate need is not to remember the bad phase of the history or your victimization. The more you will remember victimization, the more it will create a stress in your life, and the more you will become unproductive. So if you want to become productive, more efficient, you want to prove that you are more better than Brahmins and Kshatriyas, then you will have to forget that you were a victim. Because the moment you feel a victim, you become unproductive. So victimization is bad, and remembering victimization is even more bad. Victimization is bad, and remembering victimization is even more bad. Victimization is bad, and remembering victimization is even more bad. समझ रहे हो? So if you have to do something in life, if you want to realize liberty, do something with that liberty, then you will have to first stop cursing yourself, cursing your victimization, stop remembering your victimization. Something bad has ever happened in the past with you, something bad will ever happen, will happen bad. There will be something bad in your future, there is something bad in your present. The more you think about the badness, the more distance you are moving away from your goodness. So your whole energy is concentrated in thinking about badness, the badness of your past, the badness of your present, the badness of your future. The more and more distance is being created between your success and your goodness. Are we understanding this? And you cannot achieve the success without your goodness, because it is, and the goodness will come when you think less about the badness and more about the goodness. But then Ambedkar will turn against that. He will put a short, and he will say that this is again the spiritual trap of Gandhi. Your immediate requirement is not to attain Swaraj, because if you think about attaining Swaraj, how you will achieve Swaraj and how you will be able to utilize your goodness when you are not in the power of doing that. So Gandhi is correct that we cannot achieve the success without our goodness, but in order to utilize our goodness, you need the socio-political conditioning, you need your presence in the powerful institutions. So your present requirement is to remove the Brahmins from the hegemonial positions, from the commanding positions. If you remove them there and you take your place there, then only you can create the situation which is required to utilize your goodness. I hope you all are understanding this. So your first objective is to become radical, to remember what has happened and to take immediate steps. And the immediate step is not doing the revolution, is not doing armed revolt, but you need to do a constitutional struggle. So you need to do satyagraha, but the objective of the satyagraha should be to remove the social evils, like he initiated Mahar Satyagraha, Kalaram Temple Satyagraha, Water Satyagraha, Pani Satyagraha. So without doing this first, without getting creating the social environment and political environment in favor of SC/ST, you don't expect that SC/STs will join this Indian national movement under the leadership of Gandhi and will ask the Britishers to leave this place. No, we are not going to join any Congress movement and tell the Britishers that you go away, because we know that Britisher is like an insurance to us. As long as the Britishers are here, you are under some control, and we can expect that we can get something as a byproduct or the consequence and of the divide and rule policy of the. So if divide and rule policy of Britishers is in the immediate benefit of the SC/ST, so why SC/ST will boycott or will protest or will go against the policies of the Britishers? In fact, it is in their immediate interest to side with the Britisher, because it is they should be thankful to the Britishers that Britishers, if the Britishers would not have come, they would not have been liberated from the clutches of the Brahmins and their notions of Brahmanical idealism. So don't say this Harijan movement will be done only by the Harijan. That has, sorry, don't say that it will be done by non-Harijan for the Harijan. It should be in fact by Harijan for Harijan. And don't use the word Harijan to dilute their pain. Let them remember their pain. So let them know that they were Dalits, then only they will be stronger in their demand for removing the Brahmins out of their commanding positions. So don't expect that we will be the dead, or sorry, the living faith of the dead and the dead faith of the living. So this is their difference with respect to Satyagraha also. That, well, Gandhiji is telling what is a Satyagraha, what is a mass Satyagraha, what is an individual Satyagraha. He is saying that Satyagraha should be against the Britishers' policy, but Ambedkar is saying that Satyagraha is good. Swaraj